Well, we now have episode 5 of The Rings of Power, and this is really just the episode where I just wanted to do nothing more than give up. It was just one of those episodes. To kind of put it in reference for you, I started my first watch through at 11 o'clock this morning, and it's now 8:30 at night. So I think that kind of tells you all you need to know. It was just one of those ones because I watched through it, and then I watch it again, but pausing, taking notes and stuff like that. And it was just one of those ones where I was doing anything I could just to put it off. Just procrastinating to actually get to this episode, to get all my notes. I was just like, nah. No, I'll do something else for a bit, come back to it, and then give up again. It was just one of those. It's just a show. I don't want to watch this shit. I really don't. It's absolute dog shit. There's no way around this. There's no debate to be had. It is shit. It is absolute shit. I don't even know what to say to go into this. It's like every episode so far has been pretty much the same. Dog shit, dialogue, just dog shit everything. I can't really think of anything to praise this show. Because it's got nothing to offer anybody. Unless you're just looking at, visuals. If that's all you're looking at, it's the show for you, maybe. Maybe there's still some shit stuff in it, even in that aspect. But I'm telling you, I think I deserve a paycheck for fucking this. I just can't believe how long it's taken me to get all my notes together. We got 5 pages. I did get a bit lazy at the end. I'm just like, I'll remember that. I was just kind of getting towards the end. I'm like, there's still fucking 30 minutes left of this shit. An hour and 10 minutes, this episode. Why are you doing this? Why are these episodes so long? Just do 45 minutes. 45 minutes or fuck off. If this is the type of show you're doing, where it's just nothing's really being accomplished, the story isn't moving forward, still don't know nothing about the characters, other than Galadriel's a fucking asshole, and every scene she's in, I absolutely despise her, because she's probably one of the worst characters I think I've probably ever seen. Maybe if they had actually had Galadriel rather than what we've got, it would have been a lot smoother. Would have been a lot better, because we all like Galadriel in The Lord of the Rings. We all like Galadriel. But now you've turned her into just this annoying, one-dimensional... I can't say anything good about her. She's worse than Rey fucking Palpatine. That's how bad Galadriel is. Every scene in it, she's a prick. And you see people going, oh, she's so amazing. It's like, no, if she existed in the real world, you wouldn't be friends with her. So I don't know what you like about her. I do not know what people like about some of these characters. It's the same with She-Hulk. People are like, Jennifer's so amazing. No, she's a narcissistic bitch. Why do you like these people? I think that says more about... I think it says more about people than it does just the character on its own. But shall we just get into this anyway? Because I don't want to be here long. It's now 25 to 9. And I just want to get it done. Because it's going to be a midnight release. So let's just get into this bollock, shall we? So it starts out with the evil Harfoots. That's a question I have for the showrunners. Why did you make the Harfoots an absolute scumbag? Just full scumbaggery on display when it comes to the Harfoots. They don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. And I mean that within their own little group. It's still surprising that they think their culture should be wiped out. They're the prototype to the Hobbit. Nah, they're not. They should be dead. They should die out. Because, we find out some more things, and I think even if you're just bringing up the aspect of they just leave their mates to die. If you can't keep up with them, if you, like they said in the previous episode, get stuck on a mountain, they don't stop and help you. No, they just go, oh, he's stuck on a hill. Oh, fuck him. That's what they do. So most of them, they should already die out just because of that. If they're just so happy to leave their friends behind, well, they're not really friends, are they? If they don't even want to help them. So yeah, they should die out. There should be no such thing as a hobbit. There really shouldn't, because we get more stuff here as well, where it turns out that the Harfoots migrate. They migrate to the same places in different times of the year. So they go to some places because it has plums and apples and stuff. And I'm just like, well, you do realise you can take the seeds, right? Then you can go back to where you stay and you can plant them. I don't know if you've ever heard of this concept called farming. You must have heard of it. So what they do is they travel all this way, leaving people behind if they get stuck on a mountain pass. Fuck them. But then they're also, Nori's talking about, there's 100 perils between here and there. So they're up against wolves, big folk as they call them, and all these types of hill trolls and cave trolls. They travel all this way, I'm guessing every single year, to get plums when they could just take the seeds out and take them back, rather than facing all these dangers, because I can imagine a lot of them get killed off. So that's what this culture should be dead already. If this is what they're doing. They're traveling all this way with all these dangers just to get some plums, and then they go somewhere else. When you can take the seeds out, plant them in just say the camp you were in the first 4 episodes. You could just do that. But instead you're going to all this trouble for some fucking plums. Just get the seeds, you dumb. They're just a dumb fucking group. They are evil, and I don't care if they all die. That's really all I can say about the Harfoots. So that's what comes up in this conversation. You've got Gandalf, let's just call him that. It doesn't really matter, does it? You've got Gandalf, where he's, for some reason, he's now learning the lingo. And there's parts of it where he doesn't know this word, but he knows that word. It's like, why? How? I don't know why they shouldn't have even done it this way. They should have done it so he understood. Because now you're set up with, I think she says to him. Oh, and another thing to bring up is the Harfoots know about farming as well, considering the first episode, the mother, Nori's mother, I'm guessing it's a mother, brought up the fact that, men tend their fields of grain, all that, where they just sound like leprechauns. So they even know about farming, yet they haven't figured it out. Fucking pricks. But back to Gandalf. So yeah, she says things like, something will get you killed. And he's like, killed? And then she says, oh, it means to make dead. But for some reason, he knows what dead is. It just seems quite inconsistent to me. It's like, how is he learning these words? Like, the meaning behind them? Don't know. I do not know. So he says, I'm peril? Because he killed fucking fireflies. It's like, nah, they're just fireflies. Wouldn't really call that murder. So Nori tells him, no, you're good. And then she says, quick sticks. That seems to be the catchphrase for a quick sticks. It's like, just say, let's go. Fucking dick. So I'm sick of that. I don't want your catchphrases. I don't need it. Fuck me. It's not different strokes, is it? Fuck. So now the family, they're gonna go walking. Well, they're gonna catch up with the other ones because they've just fucked off now. So yeah, they get they get Poppy to sing her dead mother's song, and just keep badgering her till she sings it. She sings that shit, so which is good because now we can skip a few minutes. So yeah, they're in this. They've now stopped. He has a cup of tea. Then he stares up at the stars. Then we're back to this bit. They have to have it like this, and then it goes like this, because they don't trust you to remember. They don't trust you to realise, oh, that's where Gandalf fell out of the sky. So they have to have it, light up so you know. It's like, yeah, we know. We know. We're not dumb. I know the people, I know J.D. Payne and all that are very stupid. So, but yeah, we're not. So yeah, we get it. But it's the real Slim Shady with the real Slim Shady, please stand up. So it's that part, they look at it and then they do that on it. Because they think it's Sauron. So there's that person that in that shot looks like a boy, but it's actually a woman. Then we're back with Adar. So there's a lot of just small stuff at the moment. A lot of small scenes, which is good. Because the more these scenes go on, the worse they are. The more you have to stop to write stuff down. And it just goes on and on and on. In my case, I don't know, about 8 hours. So Adar's standing there looking at the sun. One of the orcs comes up and says, oh, the tunnel's finished. Which is, in fact, it's a trench. It's not a tunnel. It's a trench. So I don't really know. I'm not sure if that's going to come up again. I don't know. It seems to be something important. But from what we've seen out of most of it, it's nothing. It's a trench. There's no tunnel about it. The only tunnels are the tunnels that are in the town. But what we've seen the previous episode, that was a trench. So then he gets the orc to pull out his arm. Because for some reason... Can I find this? Yeah, because so it burns their skin. For some reason, they went with vampire orcs. I don't know why. I'm half expecting in upcoming episodes for them to be drinking blood, because it's like that's not even what orcs are supposed to be. They're not supposed to go, well, sunlight burns me. No, it's just more uncomfortable for them in the sun. But for some reason, they've took that as, oh no, they burn like vampires in the sun. It's like, no, it's just supposed to make them uncomfortable. So why they've made it that way, I don't know. But I'm guessing one of the orcs is going to grow wings and start flying out in the sky at night time. So he says, oh, how does that feel? Let me just see what else he says. The orc says, it feels like fire. And Adar says, I wish you could feel the way I do, because soon it will be gone, and with it, the part of me that knew warmth. Summon the legions. So that's that. That's that. They've made orcs vampires. Oh, how embarrassing. So then we get her speech, and I'm just like, oh, fucking hell. I'm just like, yeah, you're not... So she gives like a shit... It's not a good speech. It's not like... It's not like... I don't know why I'm forgetting it. I'm just... This show just takes brain cells away. It really does. Just to the point, now I'm forgetting characters out of fucking Lord of the Rings. It's gone, it doesn't matter, but we all know the speeches in Lord of the Rings were really good. Whereas here, it's just, come fight with me. And like some people are like going, like when she says, who will fight with me? Putting their hand, I'm like, why? Why is she even in charge? I don't know why she's in charge. Because you luckily beat an orc. Is that the reason why? Because again, she doesn't have credentials. She's not a skilled warrior. Not a warrior at all. Doesn't even know how to use a sword. Just like everybody in this encampment, I'm guessing, because they all look old and frail. I don't know where they're getting all these weapons from. They didn't even bring food from the town. So where the weapons are coming from, I don't know. So I'm like, why? She's not proposing a plan. It's just, come fight with me. Because this tower represents our frailty. And if we fight them, then we can redeem ourselves or something like that. Because these places used to swear allegiance to Morgoth. So yeah, all those people are dead. So that's basically that stuff. But yeah, it's like stuff like, I know I'm not the king you awaited. If you choose to stand with me and fight, so we've had frailty but strength, all that sort of shit. But again, no credentials. People can't fight. They don't have weapons. She doesn't have a plan. Then this guy down here, he wants to go and swear allegiance to Adar so they don't kill them. And I'm like, most people should probably just go with that guy, because I'm like, what is anybody gonna do? I'd be more just like, why not just leave? Just go somewhere where the orcs aren't, because there ain't enough of you. But I can guess what's probably going to happen. Is they're going to be fighting the orcs, and then all of a sudden Galadriel and the Númenóreans are going to just somehow show up. That's probably what's going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised. So that guy says, come with me. Theo doesn't go. And then we're at Númenor. And I think I should point these out now. All the ships that are here. They've got a lot of ships, Númenor. They're a very big nation. Multiple cities. So they have a lot of boats. But we can worry about that later on. But then we get a conversation between Isildur and Elendil. Where... yeah, turn the page. Like, yeah, he wants to... So, he's been rejected for going to Middle-earth. And, yeah, Elendil's like, I thought you wanted to go out west anyway. And then he says... And then, yeah, Isildur says, not to have done something worthy of Númenor. So, again, it's something I find funny, because... Isildur wanted to... He quit the sea... He wanted to get out of the Sea Guard to now... get back in. It's like, no, you could have served or done something good for Númenor by being a Sea Guard, but you quit that, and now you basically want to do that again. So I'm just lost on what exactly your motivation is. What are you motivated to do? It seems like it's just random at this point. You wanted to get kicked off of the Sea Guard only to pretty much join the same thing. Whatever, I guess. But that's that conversation. Then we have this absolute not a character. It's not a character. It just seems to be some girl that shows up. Like Elendil's sister. This is like an original character. And yeah, she serves no fucking purpose. So why you created her in the first place, I don't know. Well, apparently it was to do with having female energy in the family. But again, you don't serve any purpose. But now all of a sudden, in their little courtroom or whatever they call it, the court, I guess, council, everybody's yelling and they're in uproar about how they're sending off their kinsman to die, which is funny considering that at the end of the last episode, everyone was all on board for it. Now we've got people saying, why are you sending them off to die? Why are you sending them off to war? I don't really know why they're against it, other than we don't agree with war, or why should we do it for that elf bitch? That seems to be the only reasons. So she's shouting Pharazôn as he goes by. Then his son like grabs her and they speak. She tells him, you need to go and speak to your dad to stop the... I don't know why she's against it. I don't really know. This is just a pointless scene. But for the most part, other than Pharazôn's son being told, you need to go and talk to your dad. That's really all the whole point in that. But again, this Arion, whatever her name is a character that serves no purpose and shouldn't exist in this story. There's no use for her, so just get rid of it. But now, yeah, now he has his guild crest, so he's now become a blacksmith, which is funny because Sauron was a blacksmith as well, wasn't he? So he gets called in, but yeah, I think he got his guild badge because in the previous episode, because I thought they were just going to blow by it that he now has a guild crest, whatever. But yeah, it turned out when when we had that stupid scene of Galadriel escaping the cell, when those guys just walked into a cell, and she locked them up and all that, and Pharazôn just fucking stood there and did nothing. And Halbrand said to him, "Why do you need to stop her if you know where she's going?" So Halbrand must have told him, said, "Oh, if you give me a guild crest, I'll tell you." Which it should have already been obvious, considering we all know that Galadriel wanted to go to the tower to see the king, the exiled king. So it didn't really need to. He could have just figured that out on his own. So Halbrand points to where on the map where the orcs were going away from the Southlands. So, and then we get this where it turns out that but yeah, so he tells them where the orcs were, and then the Queen Miriel's like, "Oh, I expect you to be making landfall or something like that." He's like, "Landfall?" Because he still doesn't want to go back to Middle-earth. He wants to start a new life in Númenor. So Galadriel's a bit upset because she's like, he's screwing this up for me. So then she cuts off Halbrand and says, "Oh, he's just feeling the weight of his task." Halbrand's just looking like "Why are you fucking talking for me? I have no doubt he'll do his part." But yeah, because it's all about Galadriel, of course, she doesn't care. And then she goes on to manipulate Halbrand, which he spots straight away, but it just makes her look like an absolute bitch. It really does. Well, yeah, he calls her out for saying "you're using me," because that's what she is doing. She's using Halbrand's sob story as a way of getting Queen Miriel to agree to go back to Middle-earth. So she's the one using him, and then she says to him, "Some people might think that you're using me." I'm just so yeah, you're just trying to manipulate him into doing what you want because it's all about you. So she's a narcissist. I think we all knew that anyway. So where do we go from here? So yeah, after that he storms out. So because again she doesn't know how to convince people of anything, even though she's thousands of years old. Okay. But just another scene with her where I'm just like, get her off the screen, get rid of her, or just write her well. But too late for that now, isn't it? So they're now going through this forest. They don't usually go through here, but they say the path they must not have been able to get through there. So we get a bit of weird editing where it looks at these paw prints, and even though Poppy and Thingy were, whatever her name is, they were over at the carriages, they're now over here. So I don't really get why they edited that way. But they come across these wolves, so they're like, "Oh, wolves." Then we see some more evilness from the Harfoots, because they're evil. They're absolute scumbag piece of shit. Especially her. She seems to be the fucking biggest prick of them all. Basically, she comes to the conclusion after saying, she says, "Oh, these trees are all bare. It's never usually like that. It must be Gandalf's fault. It must be that big fella's fault. We should take their wheels off them." Which means we'll leave them to die. That's what that means. Just because she's somehow come to this conclusion that, oh, it must be because this guy's here, that's why there's no stuff on the trees. Fucking hell. It's like any excuse to be a piece of shit, it seems like, with the Harfoots. But I don't understand why they've been written that way. I don't think the showrunners realise it. I don't think they know. I don't think they know that the Harfoots are just coming across like absolute scumbags. Not likeable in the slightest. Like, and when she says, oh, we'd take their wheels away from them, Sadok he's all, like, all that. It's like, no, you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. You've proved that in previous episodes. You left a man on the mountain stuck in the snow and didn't even think to help him. So this shock on your face, I don't know why you're shocked. She even goes on to say, what will it take? How many widows will we make, or orphans? It's like, you've already done that. You've already previously done that. Why are you pretending to care now? Because you don't care. You've already got Poppy is an orphan. So then she goes off taking stuff off trees. Then these two creep up behind her to tell her about the wolf, but they do it in a way it's like you could have just shouted her name. I don't know why we're getting some sort of jump scare. But they mention they've seen a wolf. Let me see where I am. Yeah, we're away from that page. So, where are we? Is it still? Yep. Alright, where are we? I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I am now. But yeah, they hear wolves coming, so the wolves come, they chase them through the woods, and then just in the nick of time, the Gandalf shows up and throws one of them out the way, just as it's about to eat Nori. You know, I'd rather he just sat this one out. Let's just eat all the let the wolves eat all the Harfoots. Just let them do it. You'd be better off. The Middle-earth would be better off without them. But yeah, then he does some, you know, he bangs his arms on the floor and they go flying. So he repels them with something. Then he's like looking at his arms because there's some marks on them. I'm guessing he's injured from it. But now we're at some sword play, and it isn't very good. I'm not going to go that far into it, but it's just a lot of flailing going on. But I'll just check my notes. So, of course, Galadriel comes along and essentially says, I'm better than them. She says, they're untested against this foe. Which is talking about orcs. And I'm just like, yeah, orcs are very different to fight from other people, aren't they? It's like, there's not really much difference. In fact, it's probably easier to kill an orc, innit? Because they're not the best fighters. They're not trained, at least from what we've seen. But I don't get why they're different to fight than fucking men. There's not really much difference. So she starts training them, and it's the most embarrassing shit I've ever listened to. Where her great advice, right? This is her great advice. The only advice she gives at this point. So she says, yeah, she says to them, what you should do with orcs is you stab, twist, and gut. Oh, what you mean? Just stick them with a pointy end, basically. Oh, fuck me, as if they didn't know how to do that. But that's her great advice. Oh, you just stab, twist. You don't need to twist. You do not need to twist to kill an orc. You can just stab them. Just like anything else, it's still flesh. So you don't. I don't know why you need to twist. Just stick it in them. That's all you need to do. So Elendil says the first person that hits her, I'll promote. So then we get a load of Matrix shit. I'll see if I can kind of find it. We'll see what happens. But I'm telling you, every scene with her is just so shit. I'm trying to see if I can find it, but I honestly don't give a shit, so why bother? So yeah, she does that there, like fucking Neo out the Matrix. So she does all that shit. There's a lot of stuff in here where she opens herself up for people getting her. But of course, what they have to do to make Galadriel look good, I'm assuming this is the scene where, because Morfydd Clark said she needed therapy after doing a fight scene that was fake. Okay, so my guess is this is what she's talking about. So what they have to do to make Galadriel look better is make everyone else look shit, incompetent. It's like, surely Númenórean should be halfway decent, shouldn't they? But they're all just, you know, swinging their swords like that just to make Galadriel look better. Because she's not that good. She does a lot of shit that she doesn't have to, that just opens her up for, well, someone could just stab you there. You're not that good. So they haven't really put the work into the choreography. So this goes on for some time. We get great advice, let me see. She says, fight with your feet, not your arms. So then they all start doing, it turns into kickboxer. They all start kicking each other. It's like, fight with, like, she's basically talking about balance, but it's like, no, you balance yourself. You don't fight with your fucking feet. You literally fight with your arms. You just balance with your feet. So there's not, I don't know why she says it that way. So that's basically that stuff. But yeah, if you ever need to get in a sword fighting, just remember, stab, twist, and gut. None of them for some reason knew that. Okay. Then she says she says lieutenant, like lieutenant. It's like, no, lieutenant. I don't know why she says it that way. But then Halbrand comes out, and then he kicks up a sword and hands it to a guy. But now we're back with Pharazôn and his son. So his son is going there to try and stop this war from happening. Yeah, I can't wait till we get to his grand plan. to figure out a way to stop this war from happening. You fall off your chairs at it. But he's trying to convince Pharazôn to not do this war. Pharazôn's in agreement with Míriel that he wants to do this war. He wants to put someone on the throne. He thinks that elves will then be answering to Númenor when they're putting a man on the throne. What's that got to do with the elves? Don't really know how this helps them. But in the sense of men, just from Middle-earth, it will open up trade and stuff like that. So that's his logic on it. His son's still like, I need to come up with something to stop this. And it's very embarrassing. The amount of, the lack of logic that goes into it is just hilarious. So then Míriel talks to her dad, and he says, don't go to Middle-earth. That's basically that. Then we get a scene where he's got his hand in the little pond, and he's freezing it. And stupid old Nori goes, I'm going to grab his hand. Well, ice is going up it. It's like, well, you're gonna get stuck, ain't you, darling? Maybe don't touch him. So she gets flung back, and now she's afraid of him. And that is all we get on the Harfoots. So what have they done now? They've done a bit of travelling, and now Nori's afraid of Gandalf. So that's their story for the episode. We've done a lot of progress there. But I imagine with the Harfoots, it's going to be very slow, because I don't believe they can meet any of the other characters. So they're going to be on their own the entire time, if they do 5 seasons. So I can imagine we're not going to get much out of the Harfoots. And if you think they're going to meet up with the elves or anything, apparently they can't because of rights. So we're not going to see that. So their story is going to be very boring. Just to put that out there. So now we're at the dinner table with, because Durin's went to Lindon to find out what they're up to. That's what his dad told him. So we get some of this stuff, and Gil-galad starts asking questions about Khazad-dûm being quiet and but also being on the go. I don't know. As he says here, your mind's delving ever deeper. So, and then Durin sort of... he says, I might ask the same of Lyndon. And then he does a whole table speech about apparently this stone that they're using is sacred stone that the dwarves use for tombs and headstones, shit like that. Sacred stuff, but of course he's making all this up, as it turns out later on. But it's like, surely Gil-galad knows where this fucking table came from, so he'd know if you're talking bullshit or not. But I think the only part, not even a praise really of this show, is Durin's probably the best character in the show. And again, it's not saying much. He's still not that much of a character. He just seems to have a bit more personality. The actor seems to be a lot better than everybody else. So that's really the only compliment I can give this. And even then, it's not really a compliment. So that goes on for a bit. Where are we now? So, yeah, now we're at a conversation between Gil-galad and Elrond, where Gil-galad accuses him of, I don't know, you're hiding something about the dwarves. And then Elrond says, as he says here, I wonder, High King, if it is in fact you who's been lying to me. He says, I went to Khazad-dûm with a proposal of friendship. You sought something more tangible. It's like, no, it didn't work that way. You didn't go to Khazad-dûm. You went to Eregion. You didn't know you were going to Khazad-dûm till you got there, because it was just so lucky you knew the dwarves to build this forge. So you didn't go there for friendship. I don't know why you keep saying that. I don't know why you keep saying that, because how did Gil-galad know you'd go, oh, he'll go to the dwarves. So that's how we can find out what the dwarves are up to. But yeah, he keeps trying to say it's a proposal of friendship. It's like, no, that's not where you went. You went there because you wanted his help to build a forge. That's why you went there. So stop bullshitting yourself. So, yeah, and then he starts saying, I made a promise not to give away Durin's secrets. It's like, so now Gil-galad knows you're actually hiding something because you're not a good liar. I don't, you can lie to yourself, but when it comes to lying to other people, it's like, no, you're just giving everything away, Elrond. Come up with a lie. Don't just say, I'm holding his secrets, because now Gil-galad's like, oh, well, I must be on the right track then. They must have what I've been apparently looking for. Which, as it turns out... So, yeah, we get this big story about so this is like the tree that we've seen already. It's something that Gil-galad says, you'll need to break your oath, otherwise our people are doomed, or something like that. But we get this story where, I don't know, one side of the tree is good and one side of the tree is a Balrog. To that bit, I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. So, where are we now? So they have that stuff. Elrond is still he doesn't want to give away Durin's secret, and then he does, because he says Durin was right. But this is basically about, I believe from the lore aspect, this isn't true. Where apparently Mithril is the lost Silmaril. Which, I've already seen multiple people say that isn't the case, so I don't know what they're doing there. But apparently the Mithril that the dwarves have found is the lost Silmaril. And somehow Gil-galad knows this, even though Elrond hasn't said anything. But he gives it away when after the story goes out, he says, oh, Durin was right. It's like, you've just fucking gave it away, you dumb prick. You keep giving it away. You keep going on about, I'm keeping his secrets. I made an oath. Yet you keep giving it away. And you do it for real in about 5 minutes. Because you're fucking dumb. It's like, you might as well tell Gil-galad at this point. But yeah, apparently the elves will die if they don't, because their tree is fading out or some shit like that. But yeah, it's basically, if you don't break your oath, you're going to doom the elves. So then they go up to the tree and have a conversation. Let me see. Right, now we're on page 4. We're not far away now, people. We're now 35 minutes into the episode. So this is, of course, if you remember from the first episode, I think, where the leaf that Gil-galad picked up had like black shit on it. So the entire tree is now covered in it. But as it turns out, Gil-galad says we discovered this prior to Galadriel returning. We took notice prior to Galadriel's return and sent her away to bring an end to a Vikjash, I forget the word, war, hoping we might stop the decay. So basically, he's done fuck all to try and prevent this whatever darkness is coming. He's done nothing. All he's done is sent one person away because, as he put it, having someone out there looking for it could bring it, even though you believe her. So you thought, I'll send her away. That might stop it, and it hasn't. And you've still thought, I'll just do nothing. I'll just hope that when Elrond goes to the dwarves, because I'm somehow betting money that is he going to go to the dwarves or isn't he going to go to the dwarves when he goes to meet Celebrimbor. He's now hoping that this Mithril will fix the tree or something like that. That's basically that. He even goes on to say, despite our every effort, it's like you haven't done anything. All you done was sent an elf away. You've just fucking stood there and hope that war doesn't come or whatever comes. But it's basically, oh, we're gonna die if you don't break your oath. And still, Elrond is like, Gil-galad knows Elrond's hiding this. So now he has a lot of thinking to do about whether he's gonna say whatever the fuck. So, but yeah, it's all the same stuff. I swore an oath. There is not. I won't break that oath for mere hope. Gil-galad says hope is never mere, even when it is meager. That was a line I found funny, just because I had to look up the meaning of meager. Yeah, I'm not fucking that brainy. I wouldn't argue I'm that smart, to be honest, or smart at all. I'm smarter than the people writing these shows. I'm pretty sure that's obvious. But yeah, that's what I found funny about it, because mere and meager are pretty much the same words. So mere is of course, a small and insignificant amount. And meager is lacking in quantity or quality. So they're essentially the same words. So yeah, he's basically saying hope is what. I'm just gonna move on because I don't care. I don't care enough. I'm like, we're already 45 minutes in. I'm like, I want to get this fucking done. Otherwise, I'm gonna be here all fucking night. But yeah, it was just something where I'm like, does that really make sense? Because it seems to be the same word twice. But then he goes on to say, when all other senses sleep, the eye of hope is the first to open, last to shut. Whatever that means. If elves abandon Middle-earth now, the armies of darkness will march over Earth. It will be the end of us and everyone. So you've known this for a while then. You've been thinking about this. But yeah, basically, if Elrond doesn't tell them about what he found at Durin's house, then the elves are doomed. The light of the Valar is going to fade on them or something like that. But yeah, he still doesn't tell him. He has to go and think about it. So we come back to that, and we'll see Elrond betray his friend after saying, "I won't break the oath." So, yeah, we get this stuff where they had a bit of a falling out last time. They apologise, and so yeah. Isildur, I keep forgetting his name because he hasn't made an impression. So you've got Isildur, and basically he's apologizing because he wants to get put on. He wants to go to Middle Earth, and because his friend's been promoted, he thinks maybe he'll be able to get me on. So he lets his friend punch him a couple of times for like an apology, and then his friend said, "No, I'm not gonna put you on the ship, like in case you abandon it again, like you did the Sea Guard, which you now want to get back into." So they say, nah. And then his friend says, they bring up that amazing saying, the saying we all love. Yeah, he says, sorry, Issel, the sea is always right. The fuck does the sea have to do with anything? You're not on the sea. You're going to land. But they just keep saying that the sea is always right. What? Don't know what that is now. Seems to be just a cop-out at this point. Seems just to be, we don't have to explain anything. We just have to say the sea is always right. Okay. So now Pharazon's son is jumping on the ship. We're about to see his grand plan. So he opens up these barrels of oil. I'm guessing it's oil. I can't really tell. I think from, like, if you look up, it does look like oil. What kind of oil? I don't know. So basically his intention is to burn the ships down so they can't leave, even though in Numenor they have a lot of boats. So yeah, what's happened is Miriel has given Galadriel 500 men and 5 ships. So Pharazon's son idea is, oh, if I burn the ships down, they won't go to war, even though they've got a load of other ships. Your plan doesn't work. It fails instantly. Although we get a bit of weirdness. It's fucking quite hilarious, actually. But we'll get to it. So that's his. Then he finds Isildur stowing away. And then they start, like, Isildur realizes what he's up to. And then they start fighting over this lantern. It's like, what are you fucking doing, you dumb pricks? What are you doing? It's like, don't do that next to fucking oil. What are you doing? It's like that guy wants to burn it, but Isildur don't. So you should really try and get away from the oil. For some reason, as well, I'll point out now, they seem to think that oil is explosive or something. I don't really know if that tracks. To be why would it explode? It explode like the ships explode like C4. I'm like, would it not just burn down? Don't know. I may be wrong on that. I'm not too sure. So they've started the fire, and then yeah, like just as this is a lot of just fucking contrived as fuck. Because we get a scene where he runs out, and then Pharazon's son runs out, hits his head on something, knocks himself out, and then we get a lot of weird fucking editing. It's like as that it's no way you got away from that. And then what makes it worse is that if you look here, there's no one swimming there. There's no one swimming there, yet a second later, they appear out the water. It's like, how did you swim there that quick? Whatever. Fucking hell. This show. So let me see. So, yeah, they pull them out of the water, and then Pharazon's son says, oh, Isildur saved me. He didn't have to save me. I just find it... No one seems to want to ask questions like, what were you doing on the ship? No one asks any questions. But we basically had to have this scene, so now Elendil lets his son come on the trip to Middle-earth. That's why. That's why we needed that stuff. But this is when we get to the part where I'm just flabbergasted by. We're on an island that has loads and loads and loads of ships. It's not just limited to 5 ships. But now Galadriel's like, oh well, we only have 3. We still have 3 ships. Why would Miriel not just replace those that were destroyed? Why are you now going, we only have 3 ships now? It's like, no, they've got other ones. Just use those. But again, what a plan. You thought, oh, I know how to stop the war. I'll just blow up 2 boats. Even though they could just replace them. But it seems like that doesn't matter anymore, because Muriel isn't just going to go, oh, well, we'll replace them then. Why would you not do that? Now they've just got 3 ships that they need to fit 500 people on, by the way. And they're not that big, the ships. So I question that. But that's just fun. I can't believe that. I'm like, why would they not just replace the boats? Why are you now like, oh no, we've only got 3 boats left now. No, you've got others. Just fucking use them, you twats. So now they're trying to figure out if maybe we should delay until we can convince, because they think it's, I think they call it a brigand, like a person, like basically someone that's against them going to war. They don't know it's Pharazon's son. So Pharazon is like, maybe we should delay. And then Galadriel starts trying to manipulate Muriel by saying, what about your faith? Your faith told you to. So then the Queen says, oh, we'll come back here tomorrow and we'll have a final verdict or whatever. So that's all that happens there, I believe. But yeah, now they only have 3 ships, even though they got fucking thousands of ships, I'm guessing. Whatever. But that shows you how stupid the people are writing this, doesn't it? Very stupid. So here we get, we're going to kind of go a bit slower through this, just so you can see. If this hurries up. Come on, I don't want her scowl on the fucking screen. So, you know all that shit about, I made an oath to Durin? Well, he showed the mithril to Celebrimbor. So you've just broken that oath there, and you've just broken that oath by handing it to Celebrimbor. When Durin said, you can't tell a soul. So you've already betrayed Durin, yet you're still going to keep secrets. Whatever. But Celebrimbor has been testing the mithril, and he says, no matter how I test it, the light does not diminish. So they still think that this... Celebrimbor says, we believe if we secure vast amounts quickly, they'll be able to saturate elves in the light of the Valar once more. Then that will save the elves. So that's that. Celebrimbor says, I'm sorry, and Elrond's like, why? Because the High King deceived me. Or now our people are doomed unless I break an oath. It's like, you already did. You already did. There shouldn't be anything holding you back now. You should just go and tell Gil-galad, you've already betrayed your friend. It's done. It is done, my friend. So we're done with that page now. That can get fucked off on the floor. I'm telling you, since I've been doing all these reviews, I'm just surrounded by fucking paper at the moment. So, and then we get this scene. We kind of get to the part where I just kind of gave up. I'm like, I'll just generally write some stuff for my notes, and I'll just try and remember the rest. So Galadriel comes to see Halbrand. She says, I was wrong to use you. I don't even, did she, I'm guessing she thinks that's an apology. But she wants him to turn up at the meeting tomorrow because his voice will determine if they go or not. He drops a knife, and then Galadriel does the old Peter Parker trick where she manages to catch it before it falls. But Halbrand's not convinced. He's like, nah, I don't want to go. And then we get, you merely adopted the dark. I was born in it. We get one of those lines. He says, what do you know of darkness? She tells him about her brother dying and all that sort of stuff. Halbrand says, you don't know what I did, how I survived, and when people here discover it, and you discover it, you'll cast me out. So it's like, here, can you not even see that he's Sauron? It's so obvious. The writers aren't even trying to hide this, are they? It's like, it's so obvious he is Sauron. So obvious. It's like, I already know he's fucking Sauron anyway. But they're not doing a good job at for people that may not know that, to show them that he's not Sauron. Or to, play a trick on the audience. They're not doing a good job at that. It's like, oh, you just... Because they mix it in with scenes of the orcs coming down to Adar. So then we get fucking something really funny out of this. So, where we get another light, we get that line from the first episode. To find the light, you first have to find the darkness. No, you fucking don't. Just go to the light. You don't need to touch darkness to find... You don't need to do that. But whatever. So, Halbrand says, why do you keep fighting? And her great response to this is, because I can't stop. Oh, that is so embarrassing. So that's not an answer, just in case anyone was... So if he says, why won't you stop? She says, because I can't stop. So that's not an answer. I'm sorry. It's not an answer. It's already over. But yeah, that's it. Because I can't stop. Then she lists off everything we've already seen about the company that she led mutinied against them. A friend conspired to get rid of her. So on and so forth. Then she says to Halbrand, there is no peace to be found for you here, just the same as me. It's like, why are you talking for him? Why are you telling someone that? There's no peace for you here. No peace for you. Don't matter what you do. There's no peace for you. It's like, how could there not be? Maybe there isn't for you, but you're just speaking on someone else's behalf. So then we go to the orcs. And so, yeah, because the people have shown up to, like, pledge allegiance to Adar. That guy thinks it's Sauron, and when he calls Adar Sauron, he gets all upset about it. And then the guy's like, I'll serve you if you want. But Adar wants him to kill the boy to join him, which he does. Then we get a scene of bow and arrow man. They have like I'm going out on a limb and saying Theo's probably his son. I think that's what it is. I'm just taking a shot in the dark. I think that's how it's going to turn out. So let me see. So yeah, they have a bit of an argument, and then Theo tells Arondir about the sword. So he shows him that, and then it just so happens that it's up here. That's lucky, isn't it? Just so Arondir says, "Oh, I've seen that before," and it's just on the wall right beside him. Great. So now we get a conversation between these two, and some more funny shit happens as well. So Arondir tells Bronwyn it's a key conjured by some forgotten craft of the enemy to enslave your ancestors. And then she says, a key to what? It's like, he just told you. He just told you. He just said, to enslave your ancestors. And then you go, a key for what? Whatever. Fucking hell. But that made me laugh out loud when I realised that. So then we see all the orcs down here. And Arondir said, well, she says, how long do we have left? Arondir says, maybe days or hours. It's like, well, they're right there. They could come really at any time. So then they have a big... Yeah, she's ready to kick the bucket and just go, we'll just go and join them, whatever. She wants to bow to the enemy. She says to Arondir, you were right to watch us. Because we are destined for darkness. It's like, no, you're just making a decision to now go and bow to the enemy. Rather than I'd just leave. I would just leave that place, because you're not going to win. But again, I know what's going to happen is Galadriel, and that's just going to randomly show up. So that's that. They're now heading off to the tower. The elves are carrying because. Well, Durin lied about this table, saying it was sacred. He wanted a new table for Disa. So, and then Elrond has to come clean. And I'm gonna play this bit because you may get a kick out of it. Let me see if I can bloody find it. Hold on. It may. Yeah, because I want to play this just to give it some context. Right, we can play it there. Let me just let me unmute it. Make sure I'm turned off on my side. Oh, hold on. That's... why is that not coming through? I don't know if it did come through, but yeah, he says, give me the meat and give it to me raw. And I'm just like, that just sounds like, give me your cock and don't put a condom on. So that's a very weird line. I don't know if it came through. It should have done. Let me try it again. Because I just think, I think it's, you get a clear sort of message on what it is. Let me just see. Because, yeah, I don't know why it turned off. It shouldn't do. Alright, there we go. It should work now.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
So that's the line. So I just kind of laughed at that. So Elrond tells Durin about everything. He says, my kind must leave these shores by spring or perish. Our souls will dwindle into nothing until we are shadows. So Durin's like, oh, so the power, your people's future is in my hands. He agrees and says, I'll go and talk to my dad. So they're heading off back to, back there. And we're not far away now. So, oh yeah, great. We don't have to talk about much here because not much happens. It's just them going off to war. The costumes look fucking atrocious. So I'm not, as you can tell, I'm not a big fan of that. So does anything else happen? But I'm just like, looking at these boats, I'm like, there's no way you're fitting 500 people across, spreading them across 3 boats. So Galadriel walks on the ship. And then Halbrand is going with her. So that's that. Then we see the 3 ships going off. And I'll just try and pull up a shot of that. Because I want you to get a good look at them. Do you think you're fitting 500 people on just 3 of these ships? Because they're not very big. They're not very big at all. Yeah, why didn't they just give them another 2 ships? Why? They've got thousands of them. You know, if not thousands, at least hundreds. Over 100 of them. There's loads of them. They're you know, a seaside, whatever you want to call it. But no. And that brings us to the end of the episode. I'm glad to be done with that. But I'm pretty much just going to finish off there because I've been on this all day and I fucking can't be bothered anymore. I just want to go and relax. This ain't going to be out till like after midnight anyway, so it is what it is. But yeah, I'll just finish off there. Another shit episode. Just seems to get worse. From what I hear, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of just mindless action, but I'd take that over this boring shit. I really would. But from what I hear, episode 6 picks up a bit. I imagine it's still not going to be very good though. And then I believe episodes 7 and 8 are just slow again. So I'm not looking forward to more of this. I'm kind of just done with it now at this point. I just want to end it all. But there you have it. Another episode.